Hi everyone, welcome to a Fallout 76 Dev Dive. Today we're going to be covering daily ops that are coming to Fallout 76 with Update 22. I'm Nate Valenta, one of the community managers for Bethesda Game Studios, and with me today are Don and Steve, who are both from the development team. Guys, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourselves and what you've done to bring daily ops to the game?
Yeah, I can start. I'm Steve Massey, and I'm the lead level designer on Fallout 76, and also the product owner for Daily Ops. So I kind of held the vision for the mode and drove it through.
This is Don Edgerton. I'm the lead user experience designer for Fallout 76, and for Daily Ops, really try to focus on the flow and sort of feedback for what the player would feel when they're playing the mode.
Very cool. Thanks, guys. Well, let's take a look at Daily Ops then. All right, so why don't we start out by just telling everyone what exactly is a daily op?
You know, we had this issue in our game where we had all these really cool dungeons, but we didn't really have a way to get a repeatable gameplay loop out of them. So a daily op is essentially, a 10 to 15 minute gameplay experience that with randomized elements like mutation and encounter group and location that brings use for all these cool dungeons that we have for a variety of levels, and hopefully provide some gameplay that you can't just get wandering around in Appalachia.
That's awesome. So I see here we're in Vault 94. Now that was previously part of content that we had in the game before. Why did we decide to revisit this spot?
Yeah, so, we did take Vault 94 down, and we got a lot of feedback from the community about the gameplay on that. And so I think our goal with Daily Ops was to really listen to that feedback and action it in terms of what is the sort of the group-based gameplay loop that players would like to see, right? So everything we did, we attempted to be very player-friendly, right? We if you leave the daily op and your teammates are still in there, you can return immediately. Instead of having a downward counting timer where you fail at the end, it counts upwards. So there were all these issues that I think we encountered with Vault 94 that we tried to directly solve with daily ops. And so part of the reason for bringing Vault 94 back with this feature was saying, hey, we didn't forget about the Vault content. This is how we're introducing the Vault content into the world, and hopefully it's a lot more accessible and just sort of fun and repeatable now.
It's a really interesting, unique area. It's really fun to fight in, and everybody loves vaults. It's a really fun thing to go into the Fallout shelter and really wreak some havoc.
We've covered where we are right now, but let's get a little more into the guts of a daily op. So I see that we have objectives up here and that this one's called Uplink. What is the goal here for Uplink?
Yeah, the goal of Uplink is our first game mode, and the core of the unique gameplay here is that we wanted to keep it very simple and accessible, but also fun and have different strategies. So the core gameplay goal here is you stand in a location and survive against onslaughts of enemies. If you die, then you respawn. You have to go back, but there's no penalty beyond that, right? It's just about how fast can you do this.
The uplink one is about speed, and so you're going to be activating these uplinks. How does the mission progress from here?
Yeah, so the more players you have in an uplink radius, the faster you'll actually capture these. And so if you're struggling as a solo player, you can actually come here as a group and actually capture them faster and get through them faster. And the ultimate goal here is to get these uplinks online so you can detect this final enemy wave at the end, which basically our boss enemy comes out and you have to defeat him.
Awesome. You mentioned playing solo or group, so you can play by yourself in these?
So as we introduce the public team system into 20, one of the things we were thinking about is future content like daily ops in order to make sure that people can still play solo, but if they would like to play with the team, it should be frictionless and extremely quick. So we have a new daily team type, our daily ops team type, and as soon as you start one or join one, you can pretty much instantly join in with a new group of friends and complete this content with in a multiplayer way.
Very, very cool. So what does resilient mean in these guys' health bars?
Right. So, like I said, I mean, you can go to these dungeons in the world and you can just fight the enemies as normal, and it's fun and it's what you expect. But we wanted to provide something different and unique with Daily Ops. So we have this enemy mutation system. Enemies will have one default mode mutation for the game mode, and then one sort of randomized mutation that appears. And resilient basically means you cannot kill these enemies with ranged attacks. You have to kill them with melee attacks. So, I mean, for me, it's cool. It almost reminds me of other games that I've played where you're kind of rushing enemies with your gun, and you go in and you kind of bash them with the butt of your gun and take them out. And it really changes how people play the game and how they're incentivized to play the game. And so that's what we're excited about with that feature.
What are some of the other mutations that are going to be in the game at launch of Daily Ops?
Yeah, so we have volatile, so the enemies will explode on death. We have freezing touch, so they'll freeze the player, which gradually builds up over time, so you're kind of more forced to address them. And then we have active camouflage, so that means that the enemies will be stealth when not attacking.
What are some of the other locations aside from Burning Mine, Vault 94 that players will be able to look into?
Our locations that we're launching with, in addition to those, are going to be Valley Galleria and the Burrows. And we're looking into new locations for a second beat later on down the line. Those aren't locked in yet, but one of the ones we really want to explore, because we hear this from the community a lot, is the Raider Arena version of Watoga Civic Center.
We definitely do hear some requests to make more stuff happen in that arena, so that would be very neat. Now, we've talked about locations being random, enemies being random, mutations being random. How often does that happen? How much variety are players going to have with Daily Ops?
The Daily Ops are randomized once a day, so we have this interesting reward structure where it's tier-based, and you can play once a day and unlock all of the tiers on the reward system. And so we have one randomized combination per day, so players can kind of have this one challenge that they try to overcome. Maybe they try solo, and then if they struggle with that, with the particular combination for that day, then they can group up.
So we made a whole new join flow for this, including a new world activity system. We simplified the team joining for instance content with this system, and it's just completely seamless to get in, bash some robots, bash some mutants, either solo or with your team, without having to think about it too much.
So the fact that these are instanced is actually something I don't think we've really talked about yet. What's the max number of players, and how does this work in terms of instancing for, like, let's say a full server?
Yeah, so we actually developed a new kind of instancing for Daily Ops. They're for 1 to 4 players, and so when you join one, you're going to get your own instance of this. If you're in a team and you join a Daily Ops, you're going to join your team's instance. But then the neat thing is that when you go to these locations outside of Daily Ops, you're going to be able to encounter other people there. So it's going to be one non-instance cell where you can encounter people when you're just exploring the dungeon, but then when you go into Daily Ops, it'll be instance.
Okay, so they'll all still sort of be like you explained at Vault 94 earlier, where I can go into them by myself in adventure mode and not run into Daily Ops there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think the importance is really just to remove any kind of friction for something to go wrong, right? I mean, it's a very short experience. It's time trial. You don't want some of the chaos that can happen normally. You want it to be, fairly straightforward and, consistent.
So I see here we have freezing enemies. Dawn, you were playing in this one. What are some tips that you have against these guys?
Don't get hit. They really do affect your speed when you get hit by the freezing touch. Having friends is a big help because you can kind of get multiple angles on people and maybe have one person be a tank. And it's also really, really helpful to have somebody pick you up because although it's not too punishing to die and you do respawn pretty quickly, having somebody pick you up right in context is going to keep you in the fight right away.
So here we have the Operation Complete screen and some of the menus coming up. What can you tell us about what went into this, Don?
Yeah, I mean, one of our goals here was to make sure that this feels like you're actually working with Brother to Steel. This is Initiate Dodge is giving you these missions, and we wanted to make sure it felt like he's kind of there with you. So you see some of the elements where he kind of pops up and talks to you because it's more of a two-way radio than sort of a dead person in a holotape or something. And we also wanted to make sure that again, this is an action-focused kind of thing. We wanted to really emphasize the time completion criteria, the ranks that you can get, the kind of cool rewards that you can get depending on how many times you do it, and this is repeatable content too, so we wanted to make sure that people understood that and they could really kind of grok that it's good and the right thing to do to play this as many times as you like to.
So is there anything from those reward lists that you can give me a sneak peek of? I promise I'm not going to tell anyone.
I mean, my favorite thing, I always have diseases, and I have to go to the sulfur fountain at the exterior of White Spring to clear them, and we're giving away in one of these reward pools I believe a symptomatic that will remove diseases for anybody in your camp. We are also introducing a new type of generator, a giant dome generator that you can use in your camp that you'll see at various vaults.
You said earlier that I'm able to get rewards every time I complete a daily op successfully, but how often can I hit those Elder and Initiate tiers?
The timer counts forward, so if you complete the daily op in 16 minutes or less, you'll unlock the Initiate tier. If you complete it in 12 minutes or less, you'll unlock the Paladin tier, and if you complete it in 8 minutes or less, you'll unlock the Elder tier. And you can actually unlock all three of these at one time if you unlock the Elder tier. So you have access to unlock these every day, every 24 hours. And potentially roll 3 times on the chase reward on each of those tiers. Each tier that you unlock after gives a higher chance of unlocking those rewards. And then once you've unlocked them for those 24 hours, you can play daily ops after that, but you'll roll from a list of our base rewards only until the next randomized combination, and you can try again for the tiers.
Yeah, I really like the way the rewards unlock because it's very forgiving to casual players, but it also gives the more hardcore players a thing to shoot for every single day.
So, are there any sort of fun or unusual stories that happened during playtesting or while you guys were developing daily ops?
I actually had the most fun playing daily ops with a group of people around like level 5. It was tough. It was very tough. We had kind of not great weapons, we'll say, but we were able to kind of hang in there, and it was very interesting to see us kind of go against a sort of insurmountable challenge, but band together and almost beat it. We almost got him.
So close.
The boss really just was just too much for us.
So that's actually brings up an interesting topic. We have one Wasteland coming to the game too that's going to allow enemies to scale their level up and down to each player. Is that active inside of daily ops?
Yeah, so we very purposefully lined up this daily ops content with the one Wasteland content because we felt like daily ops would be a great way to showcase this functionality. If I'm a low-level player, I'm not boxed out of joining this content with my high-level friend. I can join their daily ops, and I will be encountering enemies near my level, and they'll be encountering enemies near their level. So you actually will be able to contribute in a meaningful way, regardless of the level of your teammates. So we think that that really adds to the pick up and play player-friendly gameplay of this mode.
Yeah, being on the topic of player-friendly, I think one of my favorite features of this is when you kill something and you kill it with a certain kind of weapon, you're going to pick up ammo for that weapon. So in the cases where you kind of go in and maybe you didn't have a ton of time to prep, maybe you just had whatever you had on you, there's cases where in some of our previous content, it's sort of a grind almost, where it wears down your ammo, and you can't really start having to bash people with a gun. In this case, you can come in with a cryo later and leave with more ammo than you came in with, which is fantastic. I'd also like to say that the new bosses are a ton of fun. I mean, I especially like all the new robot variances for the final encounter. Really adds a lot of extra texture to the robots that you see in the world.
I saw the Assaultron boss there. Did it have Gatling guns for arms?
Oh, they've got all kinds of fun stuff. You will see.
That will terrify my dreams for quite a long time. All right, Steve, Don, thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your busy day to go over daily ops and show us a little bit more about how they work. Really appreciate you guys sitting down and talking through that stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we're excited to be here, and we're excited to see how the community is going to react to Daily Ops.
Yeah, it's been really fun making this, and I'm going to have even more fun playing it.
Speaking of release, Daily Ops are coming to the game with Update 22 on September 15th, which should be next week by my count. It's going to arrive with several other features like one Wasteland, legendary perks, and a brand new scoreboard during the Armor Ace season, where you're going to be able to complete a bunch more challenges and claim a ton of rewards along the way. Thank you so much for joining this deep dive into Daily Ops. We can't wait to get this into your hands, and we'll see you in the Wasteland.